All right, everybody, welcome back to this album review series of Mercyful Fate, where we've, conquered all the 80s, the EP, the two LPs, and of course the band would disform. King Diamond would go do his own thing for a while, and really, while still doing his own thing in his solo career, he would also decide to get back with the gang here in 1993 for their album, In the Shadows. Very cool album cover. Give me kind of some woods, really witchy looking, which kind of fits the theme of this album a lot. Very, very solid production, very clean production. Yeah, I mean, if some of the, if not the best production this band has seen in their whole discography, right? Just very good sound. Quality and everything here, and it's very cool to hear him in such a crisp, clean production. Not that the other, the other stuff we've looked at hasn't been well produced, but this is just like, man, top-notch production for sure. But Mercyful Fate, they got back together, and it's like they just didn't miss a beat. The chemistry was immediately right back there. It was like they'd never left. And we jump right into it with track one, side one, Egypt. And this track here, awesome stuff. It's such a tone setter for this whole album, right? Kind of has this really kind of haunting kind of feel to it, with almost like almost kind of sounds like a choir, which I know it's not, right? It's King Diamond with his just incredible range, singing his way through this thing. But yeah, it's got just this kind of, he does a lot of just a lot of these, there's a lot of that kind of sound to it, where it's very choir-esque, and just really medieval sounding, right, throughout this album. And you get that here right off the bat with just kind of the whole really the chorus, right? And just a sick Egyptian sounding kind of riff and everything. Very, very cool. I mean, Hank Sherman and Michael Denner are just top of their game per usual, and just a great tone setter for the album. Perfect choice for an opener. Then we go to track number 2, The Bell Witch. One of the best off here. I mean, come on. I mean, this is just such a badass tune with another just sick riff from the guys, and another really cool really cool chorus and everything, and especially the ending, where we'll see where a lot of the time changes that they're so known for continue to be implemented all throughout this album here. And the Bell Witch has a really cool ending sequence that it has going on there. So another really solid one. And then we get to one that is easily become one of my favorites. I've always loved it, right? But The Old Oak, oh man, such a great freaking song with just some spooky lyrics. Again, kind of like that, just kind of ghostly, haunting kind of feel to it. You get just top tier solo, guitar solos from Sherman and Denner, just absolutely slaying it. And this is another one where you've got just that really awesome riff and everything going down, and then it kind of breaks down into some other segments, and where things just, it shifts on you, which I love. Just their transitions into these different segments and pieces, which they've, if you've been following along, that's what they've kind of been delving more and more into as their discography's continued on. So they're doing some more of that there with this one. And The Old Oak is just definitely become one of my favorites off here for sure. And I love the kind of the breakdown in this one as well. Then we've got Shadows, which kind of the title track, right? Because it's, in the song it's singing in the shadows, but it's not exactly the title track. Another top tier. This one has definitely become, well, this one was always really one of my favorites off here. I mean, you got some really solid bass work you get to hear right off the bat with this intro. Just, this one's got like a good epic feel to it. just kind of got a grandiose kind of thing going on with it in the chorus and everything, and just the layering of King Diamond's vocals per usual are just fantastic. Absolute awesome song. One of my like top 2 or 3 off here for sure. Get another drink here. Been a little sick trying to keep my voice from going out on me here, guys, but this one is probably my absolute favorite off here. I think I'm gonna have to say it is, and it remains the same as it always has been my favorite off here. A Gruesome Time. If this riff doesn't get you headbanging, man, I don't know what will, because this riff is one of the best damn riffs Mercyful Fate has ever pumped out. I mean, just straight to the point. It's got a thick sound to it that the production really helps, amplify just the magnitude of this riff on this one. Just fantastic. It also kind of has a cool little breakdown part in it. Like really during the kind of after that big riff and everything goes, it kind of slows down. You hear some kind of acoustic parts and stuff, and then picks right back up. Oh man, probably the best guitar solos on this whole album, possibly. Again, it's kind of hard to say because there's just so many damn good ones, but this is definitely my favorite song off here. Gruesome Time, one of my favorite Mercyful Fate songs, period. Then we flip it on over to side 2 with 13 Invitations. Another, man, just solid one that has got some length to it and everything. Just fantastic. More great, different moments and such going on here. Kind of some speedy moments and everything. But also kind of, again, has that perfect blend of really taking you on a ride, of changing up the time and just King Diamond, if you ain't found out by now, he's just a king at storytelling, right? And this whole album is just continuing that, and with 13 Invitations, that continues on here on the storytelling and just the way he delivers and uses his own voice to really, play in a way different characters, right? Which he definitely does on his solo stuff, which this isn't like a concept album, I wouldn't say. But I mean, there's kind of different voices and kind of different characters that he's kind of trying to portray at some moments during some of these songs and stuff. And you could definitely hear it on this one for sure. Then we go with Room of Golden Air, which is a quick little instrumental that's really solid. Cool little interlude in between this one and another very story-driven song, The Legend of the Headless Rider, which is kind of cool. Like back there, you get like the Headless Horseman back there on the back of the album cover there. And this is, yet again, just the storytelling of King Diamond is, on another level. And this track takes you on a ride, man, with a lot of instrumental moments where they're just, and you're just playing off of just even the instruments, telling a story, not even just vocally all the time, just using pure instrumentation to kind of invoke the emotions in you. And then, of course, on top of that, you're getting the brilliant lyrics of King Diamond, where he is telling you the story vocally and just carrying you on through this journey. So, Legend of the Headless Rider, another one that that's one I probably slept on in the past, but it's definitely, I've come to appreciate more. Then we go with Is That You, Melissa, which, besides Room of Golden Air, the little interlude, I'd say maybe this one's my least favorite besides that one. Not a bad song by any means. Very, very solid stuff. I mean, this thing is just great all the way through. And I guess you could say this is the closer, kind of. It does say a bonus track on here, which we'll kind of get to in a sec. But yeah, Is That You, Melissa? I like to call back to the album Melissa, their first full length LP. So very cool, and like the song title lyrics and stuff, kind of calling back to that. So it's a solid song, just compared to the insane lineup of tracks we got here. It's kind of down the tier for me. But then we go with, it says bonus track on it, but like I mean, this is on the, the original press vinyl here. And I think it was on all the CDs. I don't know why they called it a bonus track, right? When it's listed on like everything pretty much. Typically bonus tracks would be like stuff on, Japan exclusive or stuff like that. But it is Return of the Vampire 1993, which actually features Metallica's Lars Ulrich on drums. So you immediately kind of hear that big drum sound, which I never knew that until this listen actually of this album. That was Lars, but I always remember digging the drums on this track. And really, Return of the Vampire. I mean, it's one of the best damn tracks off here as well. You got a very hooky chorus, just a big kind of feel to it, which Lars definitely helps with his drumming. Just kind of gives it, that extra sense of scale and everything, and just a big badass tune that these guys popped out. And I know, and I'm wondering if it says Return to the Vampire 93. I'm wondering if this is the same. I'd have to go back and listen to it if it's the same version of the song off of the Return of the Vampire EP that this song was on, as well as some other, tracks from the previous albums. So I really need to go and listen to that. Maybe it's a different version of the song. I can't remember off the top of my head, but yeah, that Return of the Vampire 1993, another just one of the best off here. And you definitely can see where some of King Diamond, his solo work, has kind of rubbed off into Mercyful Fate's work a little bit. I mean, there is a pretty clear distinction if you've listened to even some like 90s King Diamond stuff. I mean, there are more concept albums and such like that with King Diamond. He's really big on that in his solo career. But this one almost, like, it seems like at moments, I mean, it's not like a concept album, but like the theme is very consistent of like hauntings and, I mean, you got the Headless Horseman and just ghosts and stuff like that going on with this one. But yeah, not quite a concept album, but there's definitely, like more, like you can definitely tell a difference in the era here between like this and Don't Break the Oath. Really mainly being in, again, it's just this, you can hear the more progressiveness that King Diamond has naturally kind of got into his music, all the time changes and such that was even going on in Mercyful Fate back in Don't Break the Oath and Melissa and all that. But now it's, since he's been doing his solo stuff all this time through the 80s, it's become even more prominent and therefore kind of rubbed off a little over here, which again, not a bad thing. I'm digging it, right? I've just kind of something to think about, how I was really thinking about that as we're going through in order here, how which really I wouldn't say I noticed all that much before, because I've listened to like especially some of the King Diamond solo stuff of like in the 90s and all that, kind of alongside some of these before and everything, kind of in no particular order. But now going in order of these Mercyful Fate albums, I'm really seeing like, okay, so maybe some of like his songwriting and such, and for his solo career kind of rubbed off into Mercyful Fate a little bit, which again is just fine with me because look at the freaking album we got out of that, right? So incredible album. But there also is still those, distinguishing factors, definitely in guitar tones and riffs and stuff like that. So yeah, don't get me wrong, Mercyful Fate, King Diamond, they can sound like totally different discographies. Obviously the same vocalist, right? And there are definitely different musically. But they're just, this one just draws some similarities to some of King Diamond's solo stuff. But anyways, guys, yeah, just awesome album. Even if you're not a fan of the 80s Mercyful Fate stuff, man, I highly suggest checking this thing out, man, because it does have a different feel altogether. And just always just been a blast of an album to listen to. I mean, I remember first time listening to this album ever, I was like taken aback at like how upscaled and everything sounded for Mercyful Fate. I'm like, man, so freaking killer. And so yeah, we got Mercyful Fate, came back, dropped a badass album right off the bat, and next time we get to look at another one of their 90s albums, the follow-up to this one, called Time. So stay tuned for that, guys. That'll be a fun one to delve into. Again, not the biggest or longest discography. I think what we've got, 9 albums. Well, I guess I can't remember if that's count the EP or not. I think it might be 10, counting the EP that we're gonna rank in there. But we're just powering along through this thing, jamming to some Mercyful Fate and having a blast all the way through. So stay tuned next time for Time when we look at that, and let's talk about some of this down here and talk about maybe some of your guys' thoughts and such on and kind of the differences between this 90s Mercyful Fate sound compared to their 80s sound, because it's definitely an interesting thing. So anyways, guys, like, subscribe, comment, and be sure to tune in next time when we talk about their next album, Time. Thanks, guys.